I saw the photo, the one everyone is sharing, the one where my brother Josiah and his wife Lauren look terrified. And honestly, it breaks my heart because I know exactly what that fear feels like. For years, people have asked me, Jill, where is Josiah? Did they really have more kids? Why did they scrub their social media? The world thinks they are hiding something. But the truth is, they are hiding someone. They are hiding themselves from a machine that tried to chew them up and spit them out. Today, I'm going to tell you the real story of Josiah and Lauren. Not the gossip, but the truth about their secret life. Yes, the rumors about the kids are true. Yes, the distance from the big house is intentional. And yes, the trauma of our childhood played a massive role in their decision to vanish. This isn't a story about rebellion. It's a story about survival. Let's talk about why Sia finally said no more. When that photo surfaced last week, the one of Josiah and Lauren pushing a stroller, looking over their shoulders like they were being hunted, my stomach dropped. I know that look. I've worn that look. It's the look of someone who feels unsafe in their own skin because they know the world is watching. The internet calls it the secret life of Josiah Duggar, as if he's a spy. But to me, it just looks like a father trying to buy groceries without his children, becoming headlines. People zoomed in on the stroller. They counted the heads. Is that a new baby? Is that Daisy? Is that Ezra? The obsession with their family size is exactly why they left. In our family, every pregnancy was a press release. Every birth was a ratings boost. Josiah and Lauren made a conscious choice to say, our children are not content. Seeing them caught off guard like that, it feels invasive. And it reminds me of the days when we couldn't step out of our front door without worrying about a camera lens. That photo isn't proof of a scandal. It's proof that they are fighting for a normal life. And sadly, the world won't let them have it. Do you remember when it happened? It wasn't a sudden explosion. It was a slow fade. One day, Lauren was posting cute photos of Bella in the snow, and then silence. Photos were deleted. Bio updates were removed. The couple account went dark. Everyone had theories. Did they get divorced? Did Jim Bob ban them? The truth is much simpler and much sadder. They reached a breaking point. I remember talking to Sia around that time. He was tired. He was tired of the comments criticizing Lauren's parenting. He was tired of people speculating about their marriage. But mostly, he was tired of feeling like he owed the public a piece of his soul. In the IBLP, we are taught that we have no private life, that our lives are a testimony. But Josiah realized that a testimony doesn't mean you have to live in a glass house. Scrubbing that Instagram account wasn't an act of shame. It was an act of boundaries. It was them putting up a do not disturb sign on their entire life. And honestly, it was the healthiest thing they could have done. To understand why Josiah is so private now, you have to remember who he was. Growing up, Sia was the fun one. He was the prankster. He had this spark in his eyes. He was mischievous, loud, and full of life. But I also remember when that spark started to dim. He was sent away to the Elert Academy, basically a behavioral camp, when he was a teenager. The narrative was that he needed discipline, but looking back, I think he just had a spirit that didn't fit in the box. He was creative. He was sensitive. And in our world, those things were often seen as rebellion. I watched my brother shrink. I watched him learn to hide his real self to survive. So when I see him now, quiet and hidden, I don't see a secretive man. I see a man who is finally protecting the sensitive boy inside him. He's guarding his peace because he knows how easily it can be taken away. He's not the prankster anymore. He's something better. He's free. To understand why Lauren is so protective now, you have to go back to the beginning of their marriage. You have to talk about Asa. Not long after they got married, they got pregnant. They were thrilled. But then they lost the baby. Miscarriage is a devastating, lonely kind of grief for anyone. But for a Duggar, it's a public spectacle. Lauren was grieving her child, and the cameras were rolling. She was expected to cry prettily for the ratings. She was expected to turn her pain into a faith-building lesson for the audience. I watched her during that season, and I wanted to scream. She was just a young girl, barely 20, and the world was debating her grief. People online were cruel, saying she was milking it or comparing her loss to others. It broke something in her. I think that was the first time she realized that the audience wasn't her friend. They didn't care about her heart. They cared about the drama. That experience planted the seed of never again. She decided right then that if she ever had another baby, she wouldn't let the world consume it. Then came Bella. When Bella was born, there was this shift. You could see it. In the beginning, they tried to play the game. They posted the monthly milestone photos. They did the cute outfits. But you could tell Josiah was on edge. He wasn't just a dad, he was a bodyguard. He realized that every photo he posted was being dissected. Strangers were commenting on Bella's appearance, her development, everything. It triggered that protective instinct in him that had been dormant for years. I remember talking to him about the pressure. He said, "Jill, I don't want her to grow up thinking her value comes from likes." That was the turning point, being exposed. They didn't announce they were leaving. They just stopped feeding the beast. They realized that they couldn't control what people said, but they could control what people saw. And so the blackout began. Bella became the last Duggar baby to be truly public, and even she has now faded into the safety of anonymity. And now the question everyone asks me in the grocery store, do they have more kids? The answer is yes. The rumors about Daisy and Ezra are true. But let's be clear, they aren't secret babies. They aren't hidden in a closet. They go to the park. They go to church. They have play dates. They are only secret to you, public. And that distinction is important. Josiah and Lauren didn't hide these pregnancies because they were ashamed. They hid them because they were terrified of the exploitation. They wanted Daisy to be born without a camera crew in the delivery room. They wanted Ezra to learn to walk without a magazine article critiquing his steps. When I see those kids now running around happy and oblivious to their last name's fame, I feel so proud. They are living the childhood Saya, and I never had. They don't know what a confessional interview is they just know their mom and dad love them. Hiding them from the world was the greatest act of a love Josiah could have performed. We can't talk about their disappearance without talking about the raid. When the news broke about Josh, when the Homeland Security agents raided our lot, it sent a shockwave through the family that shattered whatever trust was left. Josiah was working at the car lot around that time. He was close to the chaos. For Josiah, seeing his older brother, someone he was told to look up to, involved in something so horrific, it destroyed his worldview. It made him question everything: the authority, the protection of the family, the church. He realized that the safe environment we were raised in wasn't safe at all. That was the final nail in the coffin for his public life. He looked at Lauren and Bella and basically said, "We are getting out." He scrubbed his social media not just to hide, but to dissociate. He didn't want his face or his wife's face next to those headlines anymore. The silence wasn't just privacy. It was a desperate attempt to sever ties with a sinking ship. If you look closely at that leaked photo, you see more than just a stroller. You see Lauren in jeans. You see her hair cut short. You see Josiah wearing a baseball cap, looking like a normal guy. To the average person, this means nothing. To a Duggar, this is a revolution. They have quietly walked away from the IBLP teachings. They aren't following the strict dress codes. They aren't homeschooling with the wisdom booklets. They are watching movies. They are listening to modern music. But unlike Jinger, who wrote a book about it, or me, who did a documentary, Josiah and Lauren are doing their deconstruction in silence. They aren't trying to make a statement. And what happened in my life, they are just trying to live. They realize that true freedom isn't just wearing pants. It's wearing pants and not caring what Jim Bob thinks about it. They have created a new culture for their own little family, a culture of grace, not rules. And honestly, they look happier than I have ever seen them. One of the biggest theories online is that Josiah and Lauren signed a non-disclosure agreement, and people think my dad, Jim Bob, paid them to stay quiet or that they are legally gagged. As someone who has had her own legal battles with the family, let me tell you, control doesn't always need a signature. While I can't speak to their specific financial arrangements, I know how the system works. In our family, silence was currency. If you stayed in line, you got help with a house or a car. If you spoke out, you were cut off. But I believe Josiah's silence isn't something that was bought. I believe it was chosen. There is a difference between being silenced and choosing peace. An NDA implies they want to talk but can't. I don't think they want to talk. I think they look at the wreckage of the family reputation. The documentaries, the trials, the tabloids, and they want no part of it, even if there was money involved in their exit. The real motivation was survival. They aren't holding back secrets to save Jim Bob. They are holding back their lives to save themselves. People ask if we still talk. The answer is yes, but it looks very different. Now, I don't post about it. I don't snap a selfie when I go over to their house. When I visit Josiah and Lauren, phones are put away. It's an unwritten rule. We sit on their couch, which is modern and stylish, by the way, not like the old thrift store furniture we grew up with. And we talk about potty training. We talk about recipes. We talk about our trauma sometimes, but mostly we talk about the future. Seeing Josiah as a dad in private is healing for me. He is so gentle with those girls. He gets down on the floor and plays dolls. He isn't performing for an audience. He's just being a dad. Those visits are a sanctuary. We are two siblings who escaped the circus, just checking in on each other to make sure we are both still standing. It's a quiet bond, but it's one of the most important relationships I have. The most radical thing Josiah and Lauren are doing isn't wearing jeans or skipping holidays. It's how they are raising their children. In the IBLP, parenting was about breaking the child's will. It was about obedience above all else. Blanket training, hitting, strict rules, that was our normal. But in Josiah's house, that doesn't exist. I've watched them parent. If Bella or Daisy has a meltdown, they don't get punished, they get held. Josiah gets down to their eye level and talks them through their feelings. It sounds simple to the outside world, but for a Duggar man to validate a child's emotions instead of demanding silence, that is a generational curse being broken in real time. They are raising kids who have a voice. They are raising kids who know they can say no. They are terrified of repeating the mistakes of our parents, and that fear has made them incredibly intentional, loving parents. They are rewriting the definition of what a Duggar childhood looks like. I have to give so much credit to Lauren. When she married Sia, she was deep in the cool aid. She was the perfect IBLP bride, soft, spoken, modest, eager to please. But watching her find her own identity has been amazing. You see the leaked photos of her in torn jeans or a tank top. You think fashion. I think freedom for a girl raised to believe that her shoulders caused men to stumble. Wearing a tank top is an act of war against shame. She cut her hair, something that was frowned upon in our circles. She has her own style now, not the style she was told to have. She isn't just Josiah's wife anymore. She is Lauren. She reads different books. She listens to podcasts. She has opinions. I see a strength in her eyes now that wasn't there 3 years ago. She realized that she could be a Christian without being a doormat. She is modeling that strength for her daughters every single day. There is this misconception that because they aren't on TV, they must be broke or living off Jim Bob's money. That couldn't be further from the truth. Josiah has always been a worker. Even as a kid, he was the one fixing things, organizing things. He works in construction and real estate now. He builds houses. He gets his hands dirty. He leaves early in the morning and comes home tired. He is providing for that family of 5 with his own sweat, not with TV royalties. I think there is a lot of pride in that for him. For the first time in his life, his money is his. No one is taking a cut. No one is telling him how to spend it. He is building a literal and metaphorical home for his family that is separate from the big house empire. He's not a reality star anymore. He's just a hard-working guy from Arkansas, and I think he prefers it that way. Holidays in the Duggar family used to be mandatory. You showed up You smiled for the group photo and you pretended everything was perfect. But if you look at the photos from the last few Christmases or Thanksgivings, you'll notice some faces missing. Mine and Josiah's, we didn't coordinate this boycott, but we both reached the same conclusion. The big house isn't just a house, it's a stage. Going there means stepping back into the hierarchy. It means answering questions from Jim Bob about what you're doing, where you're going to church, and how you're raising your kids. For Josiah, that environment is toxic. He doesn't want to defend his life choices over turkey and dressing. So they started doing their own thing. They spend holidays with Lauren's family, the Swansons, who are much more private and, from what I've seen, much less controlling. Or they just stay home. Creating their own traditions was a huge step for Saya. It was him saying, my nuclear family is my priority, not the extended empire. It's awkward, sure. It causes tension. But peace is worth the awkwardness. I want to touch on something deep here. Why are they so terrified of a photo? You have to understand that we were raised as commodities. Our childhoods were content. Our weddings were specials. Our births were season finales. Josiah looks at his children, Bella, Daisy, Ezra, and he sees people, not plot points. He knows that if he posts a photo of Daisy, it will end up on Reddit threads. It will be monetized by tabloids. It will be critiqued. He refuses to let his children be content for the Duggar brand. It's a fierce, almost aggressive protection. I remember him telling me once, I want them to own their own faces. That hit me hard. We didn't own our faces growing up. TLC did. Josiah is breaking that cycle by ensuring that no one makes a dime off his children's existence. If that means he has to be a ghost, he'll be a ghost. He would rather be forgotten by the world than resented by his own kids one day. It's interesting to compare Josiah to our sister Jinger. They were both the rebels in their own ways. Jinger moved to LA, wears shorts, and wrote a best-selling book about leaving the IBLP. She deconstructed loudly. She monetized her freedom. That's her right. I'm proud of her. But Josiah chose the opposite path. He deconstructed silently. He didn't write a book. He didn't do a podcast. He just left. In some ways, Josiah's exit was more radical because he walked away from the easy money. He could have easily pivoted to being a Christian influencer. He could have made thousands of dollars posting life update videos, but he chose obscurity. He chose hard work and anonymity. Jinger is showing the world that you can leave and be successful. Josiah is showing the world that you can leave and just be normal. Both paths are valid, but Sia's path requires a different kind of courage, the courage to be irrelevant in a world that tells you fame is everything. So, what does their life actually look like? Since you can't see it on Instagram, let me paint the picture for you. It's delightfully boring, and I mean that as a compliment. Their house is messy with toys. There is usually music playing, and not just hymns, but actual worship music or even secular songs. Lauren cooks these amazing meals, but she's not doing it for trad wife aesthetic. She's just feeding her family. Josiah comes home in his work boots covered in dust, and the kids tackle him. They watch Disney movies. They laugh about silly things. There isn't a camera crew in the corner. There isn't a jurisdiction chore chart on the wall. It's just life. It's the life we used to dream about when we were kids huddled in the girls' room. It's the life where you can just breathe. If fans could see through the walls, they wouldn't see a scandal. They would see a happy, healthy family that has finally found its rhythm. I want to take a moment to address the people taking these photos, the paparazzi, and the fans who hunt them down. Please stop. I know you are curious. I know the mystery is enticing. But when you hide in a parking lot to snap a photo of a terrified couple pushing a stroller, you aren't exposing the truth. You are re-traumatizing victims. Josiah and Lauren are survivors of a high control group. They are survivors of public exploitation. Every time a camera flashes in their face without consent, it takes them back to that place of powerlessness. They have made it clear they want out. They surrendered their platform. They surrendered the money. Let that be enough. Let them buy groceries in peace. Let their kids play at the park without ending up on a blog. If you really care about them, if you really support their journey to freedom, the best thing you can do is look away. Everyone asks me, Jill, will they ever come back? Will we ever get an official update? My honest answer, I don't think so. Not anytime soon. The cost is too high. Maybe one day when the kids are grown and can consent to it, they might share a family photo. Maybe when the dust settles from all the legal drama with Josh and the show, they might feel safe enough to pop up. But I don't think Josiah will ever return to being a public figure. He has tasted privacy, and it tastes too good to give up. He has built a life that is his own, and he guards it like a fortress. I think the Josiah we saw on TV is gone forever, and the Josiah who exists now belongs only to Lauren and those babies. And that is exactly how it should be. As I close this out, I just want to say how incredibly proud I am of my little brother. Saya, if you're somehow listening to this, though I know you tried to stay offline, you did it. You were the kid they tried to break. They sent you away. They tried to crush your spirit, but they didn't win. You took the broken pieces of your childhood and you built a fortress of love for your own family. You broke the cycle. You protected your wife when she was vulnerable. You protected your children from the machine that ate us alive. You are a good man, Josiah. You are a good father. And even though the world doesn't get to see it anymore, I see it. And I am cheering you on from the sidelines every single day. Keep going, little brother. You're free.